Welcome to the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. This is your number one crypto podcast to hear directly from the movers and shakers, innovators, and disruptors in the cryptocurrency industry. Follow on Twitter for updates and to communicate directly at Woof Big Dawg. That's at Woof Big DAWG. Now, here is your host, the one and only Big Dawg Crypto.
And welcome to the latest episode of the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. I'm your host, Big Dawg Crypto. This next guest I have been trying to get on for a while. This man is busy. This man is also a legend on crypto Twitter. I'm not giving you any more of a build-up, but you know who this man is. Trader Mayne, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Glad we could finally make this happen. Thank you for having me.
Definitely, man. Thanks for being on. I enjoy your stuff. I enjoy watching your streams. Let me get right into it, though. This has been a crazy week, well, crazy month, to be honest. FTX, this whole situation, you probably have people asking you about it. When the person is not in crypto, says, man, what's going on? I heard it crashed. What do you tell them?
Gosh. Yeah, I mean, I tell people that this is kind of fraud at the level of, Bernie Madoff, Enron, Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street. Like this was a major financial crime that was perpetrated. And they asked me how it happens. And, I asked myself that too, because the way I kind of saw it, or at least I understood it was, FTX was the bank. They were the house, they were the dealer, and they were playing at the blackjack table. Like they were all three positions. They saw your cards, they controlled the money, they determined the rates, like everything. Right. And how do you fuck that up? Sorry, I don't know if I can swear here, but I don't know how you mess that up. So pretty crazy. And now that we're kind of peeling back the onion, we're learning that it was just like a monumental, obviously a fraud that happened, but just like a monumental lack of controls. And I don't think this is, just FTX. Like you look at the 3AC blow up too. Were they smart guys in their own right? Sure. But I think that they made a lot more money than I think they thought they were going to make very fast and didn't realize that when you're managing billions of dollars, it's very different than managing millions. And that's no different for an individual trader. If you have $100,000 account, you do not trade that the same as a $10 million account. It's just different. Right. So, I think things just kind of exploded, but from the sounds of it, there was no controls or anything at the beginning. And clearly, from the sounds of it, funds were commingled from the very beginning. So it's like, were they ever trying to be a truthful, honest business? I guess we'll never know.
Well, and the thing is that anything in a lot of ways does go, whether we're talking internet, we're talking crypto. I mean, we've seen everything and anything. And so what's interesting to me is when this failed, because you had people like Kevin O'Leary out there, right, talking about it, and different celebrities and Super Bowl ads. And as it's imploded, you have all these people that are, supposedly very, very smart, and even some institutions that put money into it without having checks and balances. And so I guess the thing is, when we look at it now, some people say, well, just set the space back a while. Do you think, from a regulation point of view, I mean, we talk about it's coming slowly, but it's coming. How much realistically, right? No big BS has actually changed. So we've heard it's going to, right? But we're seeing how things are going now. How do you think this actually changed, legitimately now?
Listen, I mean, there's definitely a spotlight on, there always has been, right? Regulation was coming whether you like it or not. And unfortunately, for as much as you love crypto, it's necessary because things like this will happen otherwise. We cannot be left to our own devices, unfortunately. I am a proponent of things like DeFi, not your keys, not your coins, but that is not going to fly in the US. That's just what it is. So if you're American or you want to do business in America or be able to go to America, you're going to have to play by their rules. That's just how it is. It doesn't mean that there won't be other parts of the world that are, going to allow for it to continue to be unregulated. I think in terms of setting the space back, sure, but crypto moves in hyperspeed. I mean, we've seen market cycles happen in 2 to 3 years over and over and over again for the last decade. That's not normal for assets like this, right? You look at gold, you look at stocks, it could be a decade for a market cycle to occur. So I do think that this could be something that regulators use as a cudgel to beat down crypto a little bit. You're already seeing it a little bit in Canada. They're saying, hey, we're going to ban leverage trading. I think that's a bit of a snap response to what's actually happened, but they can say, hey, well, look what happened when we don't do this. We don't want that again, even though this was fraud. This was not me using leverage, getting screwed myself. I don't want that protection. I want protection from fraud and things like that. So yeah, I mean, it's coming. In terms of trying to like put what percentage or how many years we set back, I don't really think that's like, it's a fool's errand. Like it's coming, right? So prepare for it, especially if you live in America. Prepare for it. Make sure you dotting your I's, crossing your T's, because it's coming. And if you want no part of it, then don't use centralized exchanges at all. My thing is like, I genuinely believe most people are probably better off with their money on a centralized exchange. The reason being is self-custody is not easy, right? Like I tried to get my parents into crypto years ago, and I ended up just buying it for them because I tried to get them set up with an account and then a wallet. And they're just like, they're in their 60s. They're like, this is too much. What happens if I put the wrong number in? I'm like, well, then it's gone. They're like, well, I can't get it back. Like the bank's not so bad sometimes. I had like an issue with fraud a couple months back. Someone had swiped my info and they tried to like transfer 10 grand out of my account. The bank called me, stopped it, returned it, sent me a new visa like the next day. You know what I mean? There are nice things to that type of, and for my parents' generation, for sure, that's what they're accustomed to, right? So it is unfortunate because I told lots of people that FTX was safe. I mean, their name was on the Miami Heat arena. And to your point, I think similar to deals. So I've invested in deals before where I see certain funds like, oh, Pantera's in there. Okay, it's good. You know what I mean? I don't need to do my own due diligence. Pantera's probably done it. And I wonder if that's what happened here. Someone's like, oh, well, look at all these names that are in FTX already. It must be fine. Because it's kind of crazy to think that all of this smart money who obviously had we don't have that level of access to do that level of due diligence. But if you're investing early stages in Alameda or into FTX, I imagine you got to look at the books. So were they just misrepresented or just no one do the work? I don't know.
I think it turns out no one did the work. I mean, they're supposed to, right? But I mean, here we are. It's like, damn. So, looking ahead now where we are, it's one of the strangest things to me has been, and you've been in the space a while, you've seen this. Remember when Bitcoin went up in 2017, December 17th, actually, anniversary. I just realized. This is
December is usually pretty bad for Bitcoin.
yeah. But I just realized this is actually the anniversary of the all-time high because it was December 17th of 17. But you remember it crashed down to, was it 4 or 5 or 6? I forget what it was. But now it's like this happens, one of the biggest stories ever, like I say the current, whatever you want to call it with the FTX thing. And yet we crashed to 16, 17. And I think 2 or 3 years ago, right, trying to advance Bitcoin, it drops 80%. It says a lot about the market. And I guess it's maturing, so to say. But I also think, or I guess let me ask your opinion. I think, but do you agree that people are kind of getting used to the crazy drama, the stuff that's going on? I'm not saying it's look, people lost money. It's not cool. I don't mean that. I'm just saying it's like even big things like that are so huge. A lot of people in the space are like, okay, we're almost used to something, you know what I mean? Like crazy happening.
Yeah, it's almost like a callus. You build it up over time and you're kind of like, I know this sucks, but this is to have these runs where Bitcoin goes up 2,000%. Yeah, it's going to go down 80% after that, right? So I agree with you to an extent. And something I always say on stream, right, is we want to pay attention when good news is reacted to very positively in the market and bad news is reacted very negatively. So like when Tesla announced their Bitcoin buy, right, the market jumped, I think like 30%. And then it was at an all-time high 2 months later. That's peak bull run, right? And that to me is later stage bull run. We had all this good stuff happening, right? And then the Tesla thing kind of kicked off that last crazy up move. And now it's kind of the reverse. We had all this bad news with 3AC and Luna, which absolutely crushed price. And now we keep getting new pieces of FUD or bad news, and price isn't reacting as negatively. And it's a weird thing to kind of comprehend, but that's almost bullish in that, like, I'm like, okay, how much more can go wrong? How much more forced selling is even out there? I mean, other than maybe the Genesis DCG elephant in the room, what else? Who else is left to sell enough tokens to drop us super far? So I don't think the bottom is in yet per se, but I think we've kind of digested a lot of the negative, news from this bear market. Almost everything that could break has broken, and it's like kind of what's left, right?
So hold on, it's funny. I want to mention a future tweet, not that my tweets are anything, super special to look forward to, but I want to tweet something about the fact that, look at Binance, right? Some people like Binance, some people hate Binance, but I feel like people right now that are rooting for Binance to fail or whatnot. It seems like there's a big campaign going on. I'm like, why would you, if you like crypto space, even if you don't like Binance, if they crash, that's gonna really screw.
I would have much rather had FTX continue with the fraud to a point where they hopefully could have covered the hole up. Because I'm pretty sure that's what Sam's plan was. I bet you if he had another 6 months to maybe launch a stable coin or something, he was going to try and find a way to plug that hole. Right. So people are trying to blame Binance for what happened to FTX. Right. The fraud was already happening. Maybe Binance accelerated. It's not Binance's fault. Right. It's like, show your cards. Do you have what you say? Right. They did not. But yeah, preying on Binance's downfall is insane to me. If Binance went down, it's like, bro, we would be in the Stone Ages.
Yeah. I said that somebody, this would duke us back to the beginning. We don't want that. So you, speaking of the beginning, where were you the first time you heard about Bitcoin? What were you doing? What were your thoughts? Like, do you remember the exact date, exact year?
Yeah. So 2012, I had a buddy of mine who used to always invite me to those multi-level marketing schemes. He's like, hey, dude, there's lunch and there's beer, and I'm 21, 22 years old. Like, fucking sounds awesome. So I would go and you'd sit there, you'd eat your sandwich and you'd get your little beer. And then they put up the PowerPoint and it'd be like a pyramid and be like, all you got to do is sign up your parents and they got to sign up their friends and And then you're making money. And I'm like, bro, these are always a scam. I don't know how you keep falling for these. So then, of course, when he told me, he's like, dude, I've heard this thing. It's called Bitcoin. It's like the future of money, dude. And I bought a whole bunch and they're only like a couple bucks. I'm just like, yeah, okay. And then a few months later, they were trading at like 100. And I was like, okay, well, wait a minute. Like, this guy's just made all this money. And if he can do it, of course I can do it. So I bought a shitload. And I kind of caught that initial bull run to 1187 was where it topped out in 2013, 14. Right around December, January. So I caught that bull run. I turned a little bit of money into, at the time, for me, was a significant sum because everything was going up. And, I'm just like buying whatever anyone posted on Twitter. Barbecue coin, I'm buying it. Fly coin, I'm buying it. Dental coin, like everything. And then it started crashing and I didn't know anything about markets, trading. I had no understanding of anything. So I just saw prices were going down. I'm just like, well, they're going to go back up. So I'd buy more and I'd buy more. And eventually I round tripped all of it and then some because I put more money in because I didn't know that I could have taken profit. I could have hedged. I didn't know anything, right? Or that I could have just held Bitcoin only and probably have been fine. I'd be much richer today if I would have just kept the Bitcoin I had back then. So that's something for all you aspiring traders. You're probably not going to outperform just holding, the majority of you. I'm just letting you know. But I kind of got burnt, right? And that was the motivation to say, okay, obviously there's something here. What is it? And how can I learn to not just understand what it is, but actually profit from it and extract value from the market? In that when the next bull run happened and we went to 20K, I was selling Bitcoin and I was taking money out to my bank, buying stuff in the real world and positioning myself obviously for this most recent bull run. So yeah, 2012, 2013 is when I first got introduced, but I didn't really know what I was doing until that next bull run in 2016, 17.
I mean, 10 years to know it, that's a long time. That's like the OG of OG. That's pretty impressive.
I tell most people, like, if you made it in your very first cycle, like this is the first time you heard of Bitcoin and you made it, like, I think that's rare. I think most people, you see the money, you get greedy, you don't really know what you're doing, and you give most of it back. So if you're able to keep most of your money in your first cycle, I think you're ahead of the curve.
So that brings into, I'm glad to have like a fair amount of new people that will listen and watch the podcast. And I bring this up for a reason. When I got in 2000, like beginning of 17, like I try to consume YouTube videos, different things on Twitter, and I had a lot of crap that I consumed. And I just say that because looking back now, it's like, it was just people shilling, whatever, just BS. And it was some good stuff, but a lot of BS. So for new people now, and the ones that are listening and watching and whatnot, and I always say, it's not like a joke. And like, if it helps one or two people, like learn from the lessons of the people who've been here a while, that's great. What advice would you give or suggestions, right? You can't give advice, so to say, but suggestions for somebody in the space that just got in and they're like, hey, how do I find content? How do I find what's up? I don't know where to go. What would you recommend? Yeah.
So, I mean, I think part of crypto is making those mistakes. Like, I do think that crypto is one of those things you need to learn by doing, right? I can tell you exactly how I mark up the chart or what I do or why I'm buying here. Doesn't mean you're going to do it or do it properly or be able to repeat what I do on your own computer, right? Because at the end of the day, you were the one pressing buy, you were the one pressing sell. And I do think that the shillers of the world, they have a place because now you know, okay, that guy, what was his ulterior motive? Right. Oh, he actually had coins before he made that video. And as soon as it went live, he had a pre-sale allocation that he was dumping on me. And as much as people are like, screw these scammers, it's like at the end of the day, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. Right. Like you almost kind of have to, I feel like part of learning crypto is getting rugged, like getting scammed, finding out that, oh yeah, that's bullshit. This isn't. Having that ability to do your own research. Don't trust, but verify. That's the entire ethos of crypto. So I'd say try things, right? You want to learn about DeFi, spin up a MetaMask and just try shit. I think that's going to be the best way that you learn. In terms of good resources, it depends what you're looking for. If you want to be a trader and you like to do what I do, you want to look at charts and be able to make, educated guesses. That's effectively what they are, or calculated bets. Check out my YouTube, check out guys like Crypto Cred, Trader SZ. These are guys who've been proven to put out solid educational content. They know what they're doing. Cred's course on YouTube is like university level education. Like it is PowerPoints, slides, homework. Like it's very, very legit. And it's from like, hey, here's what a candlestick is, right up to like, here's how to actually enter a trade and manage your risk and things like that. But yeah, I'd say get in there, get your hands dirty, right? Like you can almost get analysis by paralysis, right? There's so much information from Twitter, from YouTube, from all of these other places being like, oh, look at all this money making. Look what I'm doing. Look at this coin. It can be overwhelming. And then all of a sudden you're missing opportunity because you're not doing anything. Just kind of get in there, get your hands dirty and you will learn. And then I think, finding some like-minded individuals is super important. I think I've absolutely made money from being in Discords and Telegram groups with other traders and investors they can commiserate with you. I can't talk to my friends in real life about how my net worth is down 70% because some random vegan guy who lives in the Bahamas and eats cucumbers all day stole all my money. Right. But other people in crypto, they can relate and you kind of need that camaraderie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny you say that because it's like, and I've said this to people all the time. I said, we all have different social media, whatnot. People have them personally. But when you go on to Twitter, particularly crypto Twitter, it's like it's not sound cliche or BS, but it's like a family or I don't know what the hell the term is at this point. It's like, it's like a group, whatever. But it's like you get in there and you're comfortable talking with like-minded people because for most people, 99% of people in your life have no idea what the hell crypto is. They don't know, they don't care. Some may hear a little bit, right? They get bored of it. But you go to crypto Twitter and you see, like you said, like-minded, whether it's Telegram or there or whatnot. So I always, I agree with you on that. That's a good way to find it. But then that gets into something else. You get all kind of questions. I know you've always been, I know I've followed you for a while. You've been very accessible. When people are asking you things like when alt season, stuff like that. I mean, let's bring that question up because I get that all the time. Some people say maybe not till after the halving in 2024. Some people say next year. A lot of people now, which shows we're getting close to capitulation, is we're never going to have one again. You hear that a lot. You're like, okay, well. So what do you think if you want to throw a time frame out, or is that one of those which we don't know?
Muted there. I think looking at the macro picture, I mean, I still think we have a long time of unwinding this highly inflationary environment that we've been in. Not only do rate hikes need to stop, right? Rates need to come down. Those are two very different things. People seem to think when the rate hikes stop, all of a sudden they're just going to start bringing the rates down. That's not how it works. They can raise rates to the terminal rate of 5.5%, whatever they decide, and then it can stay there for 3-6 months, and then they can start to bring it down, right? And until those types of macro conditions are met, I don't see how we're going to have some sort of risk asset bullish run, which is what crypto is. Crypto is bullish when risk is on in the market, and risk is off right now. Are we getting closer? Sure. Closer than we were a year ago. Absolutely. But I don't think it's there yet. And I like the halving as kind of a barometer, right? Like after every halving, we've had a bull run. So that's what I think it's May 2024.
Yeah, I think, like April, May.
Yeah, 12 to 18 months sounds pretty reasonable to me for rates to stop going up, maybe start coming down, the dollar to cool off, bond yields to kind of turn around a little bit. I like that. In terms of altcoins, what I always tell people, well, there's a few things. First of all, figure it out yourself. Look at your altcoin that you want to buy. Look at it versus Bitcoin. Look at it versus Ethereum. If that chart is not in an uptrend, you shouldn't be buying it because it is underperforming both of those other assets. So that's step number one. Anytime someone's like, Maine, what do you think about this altcoin? I'm like, let's look at it versus Bitcoin. Let's look at it versus Ethereum. And if it's in a massive downtrend, which it usually is, it's not a good buy, right? It's just, it's simple as that. That's how the fraction works. If the alt BTC pair or alt ETH pair is in a downtrend, the numerator is underperforming the denominator, right? Number two is go look at 2017 alts. Look at how low they went in the last bear market versus how high they went in this last bull run, and compare that to any of the new altcoins from last cycle. Any of the DeFi, Metaverse, GameFi, all the new shit, right? They all underperformed. So everyone's always like, hey, what about this coin? I'm like, I've made that mistake before. I was like, well, I like everyone remembers when I was hyped on Litecoin. I like Litecoin because of da-da-da-da-da. It underperformed everything. You're better off, in my opinion, spending your time trying to figure out what are the new verticals and spaces that are going to be exciting in the next hype cycle and getting into those tokens early. Because if you bought into DeFi early, you crushed, right? If you got into Metaverse stuff early, you crushed. And if you bought EOS, LTC, and XRP, you underperformed not just all the new altcoins, but you underperformed Bitcoin and Ethereum too, right? So that would be my non-financial advice is look at them versus Bitcoin and Ethereum first. And then two, maybe consider looking for that new stuff, because you got to remember all these coins from last cycle, they now have a bunch of bag holders who are just itching to get out anywhere closer to break even than they are. So if you have a chart that goes like this, for it to go back up, all those people that are holding through here need to not sell on the way back up, right? You have built-in supply overhead. I think it's easier to make money in new stuff.
There's probably one or two people that you may have upset with that comment just now that are watching this or listening that have Delta coins from 2000.
Link Marines and XRP.
No. I'm gonna go worse than that. That have Delta coin from 2017. Oh, yeah. And they're like, Trader Mayne, I'm waiting for this. My dentist still doesn't accept
it. Go ask your dentist. That's not my problem. See if your dentist will accept it.
No, I'm with you on that. And I've always told people, like, especially like friends of mine that want to get into alts. A friend of mine the other day was like, well, I kind of want to put some money into something, but I'm nervous. I said, look, let me be very clear. I said, any altcoin you buy, as long as you're comfortable with it, potentially going 100x or going to zero, and you can sleep at night under both scenarios, and you do your research, do it. You know what I mean? Because I don't know what the alt is. I mean, it just depends. And so I've always said, make sure that it's, like you said, that it's in an uptrend and whatnot, what teams work and stuff like that. But there's never a guarantee in the space. There's no question about that. But I do believe there'll be an alt season because people like to speculate. And at some point, I could see that happening.
For sure.
But, you look at Bitcoin, would you want to, and I hate that you kind of give guess time frames and stuff, but heck, it's fun. Why not? I'm like, take my prediction, put it on $5, go to Starbucks, you might get a little change. But $100,000 Bitcoin, would you see that by the halving, before the halving, or after the halving, or never?
It would have to be after if it's going to happen. I think 100K is not an insane target at all, right? Like that's not even a 2x from this last all-time high. And we have been seeing diminishing returns in crypto, right? Bitcoin going from 100 to 1,200 and then 300 to 20,000 and then 3,000 to 60,000. Those rises are getting less and less and less, right? It's that kind of diminishing returns curve. So I think 100K is completely reasonable. And so by that logic, okay, Bitcoin is 16,800 right now. If you buy between 10 and 20,000 and you can wait 2 to 4 years to potentially 5 to 10x your money, show me where else you can do that. And that's just on Bitcoin. That's not including maybe some altcoin exposure you have that has potentially much more upside, obviously potentially more downside as well. Sure. And same with Ethereum. Ethereum between $600 and $1,200. Maybe it goes to 10K, let's say. That's a 10 to 20x on your money. Sure. So I think there's still lots of opportunity to make money. I absolutely believe crypto will see all-time highs again. But yeah, I'm more in that kind of 12 to 18 months out kind of camp before things really get exciting again.
Well, I could see that. I definitely could. Okay, so a couple of random questions. Looking at, if you had to look at a situation where you had Peter Schiff and Nouriel Roubini, which one buys Bitcoin first?
I think Peter Schiff, as much as he's a Bitcoin hater, Peter Schiff is actually like not a dumb person.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, like he's a smart guy. There's a reason he's in the position he's in. He's made a lot of money on gold. Has gold underperformed Bitcoin? Yes. Everything has underperformed Bitcoin. So it's kind of a silly argument. I do think his hate for Bitcoin, I'm sure there's part of it is truth, but he gets such engagement from it, right? If he makes a tweet about, hey, look, Bitcoin's down 20%, 10,000 people from crypto Twitter are like, blah, 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 blah. If even one of those people come in and say, oh, well, what is this guy doing, and invest in his fund or something like that, it's free marketing, right? So I don't think he's dumb in that regard. I think Nouriel is more stubborn. Like, Peter Schiff, I've shit talked him so much. He's not going to block you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Nouriel, you say something that irks him, he's going to block you. And for someone who preaches anti-fragility, he's one of the most fragile people out there. And I think he's just so stubborn that he would just never give in.
Yeah, that's funny. So the thing about Schiff, you said, I completely agree. It's funny because, Schiff has done, his engagement goes through the roof when he tweets about Bitcoin and crypto, but on his website, he accepts crypto. I love that. It's like, really? Come on, you know what you're doing. And yeah, I agree with you. I think Nouriel Roubini, like he's making money off the speaking fees. So even if he liked it somewhat, and I don't believe he does, but even if he did, he's getting the speaking fees. You know what I mean? Like, hey, look, if he wants to get paid doing that, we always have to have the villain, right? Any sort of story, and he tries to fill that role. So I don't know.
No.
So question, you have NEC on your profile. What does that stand for?
Apparently people have this obsession with my neck. I don't even know when it specifically started. Like, I want to say maybe it was on an episode of Ep Only, or it was Rookie who maybe started it. I don't think my neck is that big, but maybe slightly above average. I work out, I do deadlifts and shit like that. So yeah, it's like it's muscular.
I was looking at the comments on the Twitter. It's like, well, ask him if he measures his neck. So, okay, and question. If you went out, not that you would, but if you took Jane out on a date, okay, would you go get craft beer and pizza, or do you think she's more of a go to a EDM festival type of girl?
I think she's more go to a very tall bridge and push her off type of girl.
You're saying this, but this could be, the ultimate love story if it ever happens.
No chance whatsoever. Funnily enough, she lives in the same city as I do. She messaged me and she's like, I'm from where you're from. I'm just like, oh God, that makes this even worse. But yeah, I don't know if Jane is genuine. Like, the DM she sent me makes me think that her questions are genuine. Like, some people are like, she's just joking and trying to trigger you. I was like, I don't know. I think this is just a kooky old lady, but who knows?
Hey, look, that might be a money-making idea to do like a dating app on blockchain.
There you go. Yeah.
I don't want to do it. I'm just saying. So, okay, a couple other things too. What country, if your plane shows up right now, it's taking somewhere for the weekend, you go and party, hang out, have fun, whatever it may be, where are you flying to in the world this weekend?
Oh, this weekend? That's a good question. It's pretty
next
cold.
Weekend or next year.
It's pretty cold here in Canada right now. We're actually getting a big storm front from Siberia. We're going to have the coldest weather in the world where I live next week. So I probably want to go somewhere hot. Let's say Medellin, Colombia. Find me there. find me in Parque Yes, downtown.
Great place.
Yes.
Nice. And your favorite, what's your favorite food? You going out to eat? What you like to eat? A little bit personal side, so people get to know.
A good steak, like from like a classy steakhouse, is elite. In terms of street food, love tacos. Lived in LA for a couple of years. Love kind of, Mexican cuisine. So tacos, things like that. Huge fan.
Wait, what's the best part about Canada?
I think the nature. And safety, right? Like, there's no guns here, and people are like, you want guns? I'm like, yeah, maybe to an extent, but like, there's a reason there's no mass shootings here. And, I don't have a fear of getting robbed for wearing my nice watch out, because it's just not a thing here, right? Can't say the same for places like LA now and Miami, like people get robbed at gunpoint. But the nature, man, like I've thought about moving to Dubai before. It's possible. especially if they try and regulate the shit out of crypto and I have no other choice. But it's just like I think I would miss the nature, man. Like I live in BC. It's beautiful here. Like we have mountains, ocean, beaches. In the winter, we have world-class skiing. We have like amazing, just outdoor. We have clean air. You drink the tap water here. It's straight from the glacier. Like our tap water is better than most places' bottled water. So I think that if you're into nature and you want to have the combination of it's like a Colorado, you live in Colorado. It's like where I live. So that's huge for me. I'm a big fan.
Do you get to go ski? Are you like blues or blacks or what?
Yeah. I'm going snowboarding tonight, actually. So there's a hill about 50 minutes from where I live that you can night ski at, and you get to see the entire city when you're going. It's pretty fun. So I'll be doing that tonight.
So I tell you, okay, I love Canada. I mean, I went there for the first time a few years ago. I've been there probably 10 times in the past 3 years. One of my favorite places. A lot of friends there. I went skiing in Quebec City.
Yes. In Mont Tremblant.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But it was like, I think it was early 2018 in January when it was like the coldest weather. It was colder than like the North Pole. Yeah. And I'm skiing. And let me tell you what happened. I actually went on the side because it was so freaking cold. You had to be so covered. And I went into a snowdrift and I'm sitting there underneath and it's negative, colder than I ever had. And I'm like, this ain't cool. I could like die here. Like I got out, but I'm like, that is some cold skiing up there, Yeah,
always ski with a buddy. That's like rule number one.
I was with some people, but I'm like, I'm by myself. But I've never been to the West Coast. That's my goal. So maybe I'll make it up there. I come, say hi. Let's go skiing. I like that. So
let me know, brother. Absolutely.
Cool. All right. So how do people find you? What's the best place to connect?
Yes, I'm Trader Mayne on all platforms. So there's no dashes, there's no underscores, there's no double letters. Unfortunately, a lot of people use my likeness online to try and scam people on Telegram and Instagram, probably the two main ones where people are like, hey, I don't have a paid group. I don't have a private Telegram that you can join for $50 a month. I will never ask you for your money. I'll never DM you first, ever. And if the handle is not Trader Mayne, spelled TraderMayne, it is not me. So Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter. I post minimum of two videos a week on YouTube. We do a live stream, then I'll usually do another upload sometimes midweek. TikTok, I know it's like all the Zoomers are on there, but my editor is a beast. So if you want just like the little bits of alpha where I'm talking about marking up charts and things like that, my TikTok is littered with that stuff. And then Instagram, if you want to follow me around, see me post gym selfies and stuff like that, that's where you find me.
Oh, good, brother. Well, look, I appreciate it. Thank you for being on the latest episode of the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. I'm your host. Sirens going off in the background.
They're coming to get you. Yeah.
They're coming to get me. It might be the last episode. All right. Thank you, brother, for being on the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. Trader Mayne. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. Follow on Twitter at WoofBigDawg. Woof, big DAWG. And run faster than the competition. Woof, woof.